thing you guys, or the major part of the product you guys outsource is the engineering director.
Yep.
And that's an Audi Quattro unit that
we use an Audi V8 engine that's sourced from the European A8 sedan. Starts at 360 horsepower, and we bump it to 400 horse with ECU upgrades and air intake and exhaust and things like that. All of our own design. We use the Audi transaxle and the Audi transmission. All of the components somewhat strengthened to accept the full power of that through the which was essentially half of the Quattro system. Mid-engine rear-wheel drive in our car, and the Audi would be front engine and all-wheel drive. But other than that, the suspension chassis and all the other design for the car is all on our own. But the Audi engine has proven to be time and time again completely reliable. It's a fantastic drivetrain, 7,200 RPM redline, gobs of torque, the lightweight, the low gear ratio, and the good amount of torque. It really makes the car a lot of fun to drive.
Oh, I can imagine. And you were telling me that like the maintenance on this car, average yearly maintenance is only $1,200.
Yeah, give or take. Because it's such a basic production engine, there's no strange valve adjustments. There's no additional maintenance costs that you would normally incur in a high-level exotic. It's basic. You own the car. We ask you to come in after the first 1,000 miles, so I can make sure that the doors are aligned correctly, that you're not slamming the doors too hard or doing certain things. Want to make sure everything's tightened up because it is a hand-built car. Yeah. And then after that, it's unless you're going to take the car and do a heavy track weekend, flush the brake fluid every 2 years and change the coolant every around the same time. Change the oil at 6,000 miles. Done with it.
That's average maintenance.
The oil filter is a standard oil filter that you can source from an Audi dealership. We get them from Europe and source them to our dealers here. And but it's essentially off-the-shelf parts. The coil units, the air filter, all of that stuff is all off-the-shelf parts that are easily sourced by Audi, even here in the U.S. The rest of the components and the switches and things like that in the car is obviously something you have to get from Spyker, but the basic maintenance it's very, very simple.
And you were telling me last night with the Aileron, you guys are doing a 3-year unlimited mileage warranty?
Yeah, that's going to break ground that nobody's heard of in this segment.
In any segment?
Yeah. For us, well, we understand that our owners are not going to drive these cars 100,000 miles a year. But they're welcome to try if they want. I mean, we have owners in the UK that have cleared over 60,000 miles easy, or kilometers. Yeah. But based on the maintenance here in the U.S. and how the owners have been using the short wheelbase cars, knowing that the Aileron is going to be built one step beyond that, we're confident in having a 3-year unlimited mile warranty is not going to be an issue for us whatsoever.
Especially since you're using basically production drivetrain, it's not under a whole lot of strain. You have adjustment size and you have horsepower out of it, and modified the other rear wheel.
It hasn't been a problem in the 250 plus cars that we've had yet. I don't think it's going to be a problem with the Aileron.
What do you expect to produce from the Aileron over the next 2 or 3 years?
Officially I can't say because we're a publicly traded company, so I can't go on record with that. But I know that we'll. Our goals are, to clear in full production. We will have the short wheelbase cars will still be available if an owner wants to order one, but the dealers most likely will not keep those in stock. We'll introduce an Aileron Spider that we had at Pebble Beach. We're still in development for our D8, which will be the super sport SUV. We call it the SSUV. And then with the Aileron Coupe, we'll be we'll have 4 solid models, actually 5 if you include the Laviolette, to be able to produce. And because the cars are built to order, it's however many we can sell, we're gonna push out. So.
Now, one last thing for us. You were telling me last night, I didn't even realize, I'm a huge Aileron and Le Mans fan. You guys actually participate in the GT2 class.
In Le Mans, yeah, this past year we have since the early point in the country. I want to say, I think 2002, 2003 was our first season. We've struggled the last few years, but this past year we placed 5th at the 24 Hours of Le Mans, which is a huge deal for a company to #1 finish. But if you look at the other companies that were racing there, Ferrari brought out 10 factory-backed cars. We beat 6 of them. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place were Ferraris. We were 5th. We beat out the Porsche team. We beat out the Aston Martin team. So for us, it was a huge deal. Not to mention, we only ran 1 car. So a lot of times in the 24-hour Le Mans, most of those guys will run 2 cars. Will run a Ravage and Hare setting where they run 1 car hard and they've got the second car in case something breaks. We didn't even do that. We ran fifth place, 1 car, 24-hour Le Mans. Definitely something that we've been able to hang our hat on this past year. And then we've Silverstone, Nürburgring. We've done very, very well this past year, to the point where we will continue that next year. We're looking into possible ALMS, where we've run Sebring in years past. We'll run hopefully maybe next year or the year after with maybe an Aileron, a GT car. We're going to stick with the racing. I mean, it works for us.
It's one thing to add to the areas.
Yeah.
And to be an exotic manufacturer, you have to have it.
We have to have some sort of a car with numbers on the side and stickers to really to get it out there. But Le Mans is outside of F1. I mean, it's the premier. I mean, that's where it is. And
creme de la creme. That's where Ferrari races. That's where you go.
Yeah, I mean, F1 is very important, but it's hard to. It's good to get brand recognition, but you don't have a production-based car there. So people can see the car, they can see what it looks like. We essentially run a very near, stock car in that series. It's still using the same basic engine that we use in our production cars. It's still using a lot of the same basic components. The design of the suspension is essentially a tweaked version of our street car, but it's not overly changed. Like most of the cars in the Le Mans series. So, for us to be able to do that and show our customers, look, I mean, we ran 24-hour Le Mans with 1 car and finished.
And it's especially as hard as you push a car
in Le Mans. It's ridiculous. I mean, you're running that car at full throttle for that entire day, without lifting.
With braking and tires and just that whole load that you put on the entire car is phenomenal.
For a production-based car, I'm told it's the most strenuous, grueling race that you could put a car or a driver through. So we were very, very happy to place that. And we consider that to be a first or second place for us because we can't ask for anything better.
Well, I appreciate you being on the show today.
Absolutely.
Definitely will be checking out for ALMS next year and Le Mans.
Yeah, just keep an eye on it. Spykercars.com, and we have links to our we call our race team the Spyker Squadron. We've got a whole sub site for that as well. So if you just log on to Spykercars.com, you can check out our Spyker Squadron. You can watch the videos, from 24-hour Le Mans and everything like that there. So easy.
Thanks. Appreciate you being on the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Check us out next week on BurnoutRadio.com.